Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Moto, and a few months ago we had Kawasaki's charming air-cooled W800 classic traditional style motorcycle, if you will. That was powered by a very small, simple 233cc single-cylinder air-cooled engine. It was not very fast, but it was light, it was carefree, and it was charming. This is the older brother. This is the W800. Still air-cooled, but coming with 2 cylinders, and I think it was about 773 cc of displacement. So quite a bit larger, making about 50 horsepower and about 46 pound-feet of torque. Routing that out to 2 exhausts here in the back. Coming in just over $10,000, so quite a bit more expensive than the W800. But theoretically providing you an entirely different riding experience. But today we find out if that's a good thing or not if you're using this bike regularly. So this is our Commuter fuel economy test. We're going to head over to the gas station, top it off with petrol, head out and do 43 miles of mixed riding, some highway, some city, some coastal, some suburban, kind of like if you were taking a commute. And then we're going to come on back and fill it all the way up, see what sort of fuel economy we get, and talk about my impressions about being on the W800 for sort of this daily sort of ride. And this is a bit of a raw first, well, maybe not a raw, because I have ridden this bike already a bit. I rode it back from Kawasaki HQ, but it's going to be a first impressions ride for me in terms of really thinking about and starting to evaluate this bike. So, without any further ado, let's hop on and fire it up. 18-inch rear and 19-inch front tires on spoked wheels. This is a cold start for this bike too. It hasn't been started yet today. Ooh, eager to come right to life. Okay. See, this is what I like about the motorcycle world. This is not the type of bike that I would ever buy. I just prefer more sort of adventure bikes, off-road or sport bikes, that sort of aesthetic. But there's such a uniqueness and a fun character to a bike like this. I mean, air-cooled, it's still fuel injected, and it still has ABS, which I appreciate. I also appreciate this dual analog tach and speedometer setup here. Slipper and assist clutch, so it's very light. Ooh, yeah, buttery smooth. Very low mirrors, so that's going to be interesting. Low and narrow. It's actually going to be very easy to lane filter with this bike. Big one-piece seat. Good amount of comfort on it, good amount of squish. But my knees are kind of upright and together, sort of similar to the W800, to be honest. Oh yeah, definitely a lot more shove than the little bike. It's a good thing they put these mild pads on the side of this metal fuel tank, because my knees are definitely hitting it. That's going to be my biggest concern about this test today, is ergonomics. No gear indicator, but we do have at least a neutral indicator, so that's nice. No fuel gauge though either. 4-gallon tank on here. We should theoretically be getting pretty decent fuel economy, but again, to not have a fuel gauge, I don't love it. Oh, busy at the pump today. Squeezing in front of this RAV. I actually have to see what sort of fuel this bike requires. I can't imagine it's premium, but I will confirm before filling it up. Locking fuel cap, but it does... Oh, and it does flip up. Okay, nice. Yeah, just an 8.4 to 1 compression ratio engine here, so very low, very mild, 87 octane, all you need. Don't bother with the more expensive fuel. It's not going to give you a benefit on this one. There we are topped off. Even the fuel cap has a nice metallic feel to it. Oof. I think I've got some gasoline on my hands, though. That's unfortunate. Okay. Before we start up the engine, let's reset any sort of trip meter we got. Let's see, we have a clock. We have an Odo, 250 miles on this bike, trip meter, and that is it. Okay, very basic, no big deal. Away we go. I like the sound of that exhaust. Kawasaki made a concerted effort to kind of have the exhaust sound unique on this bike, and same thing with the W230. So this test is going to be a casual ride. It's not going to be aggressive, but it's not going to be hypermiling either. It's just going to be like you're taking the W800 into the office in the morning. Riding nice and easy, calm, trying to stay within about 5 miles per hour of the posted speed limits. There will be one section where we open it up a little bit more, our spirited riding section. Hopefully you all can hear me okay at these higher speeds. Obviously no sort of wind protection here on the W800. That'll be interesting for this 60-degree Fahrenheit day. See if I get chilly at all, because getting all sorts of wind on me. But oftentimes these naked bikes are actually quieter at these sort of speeds than bikes with a little bit of a windshield, because it's very clean air. And I am wearing the Arai Contour X today. Helmet that's nice and safe and also quiet, so I'm not really too concerned. Only 5 forward gears on the W800, so I am in 5th right now, cruising about 3,000 RPM. We've got enough grunt to pull away from traffic, pull up this hill, get past this Tesla. We do have adjustable brake and clutch levers as well, which is nice to have, especially since there is no quick shifter, so you're going to have to be clutching more often than other newer bikes. There's a simplicity that I just really like for some reason about air-cooled engines. It's just like, oh, when it's chilly outside today, it's going to be responding differently than when it's warm or when you've been running it hard or running it soft. It's just, I don't know, it's just cool to me. Ergo check. I am 5'10", 32-inch inseam, 170 pounds. And I'm leaning forward a bit to get to the handlebars on this motorcycle. There's a bit of an engaged riding position. Perhaps a little bit surprising given the casual nature of this bike, that it would have a little bit of a forward lean. However, I do think I'm going to find that nice when we get up above 55 miles per hour or so, and I'm fighting the wind. It's going to kind of push me into a nice neutral resting riding position. We'll see if that poses true on our highway section. Hopefully you all can hear me okay, because it is a beautiful morning out here on PCH. Water's looking okay calm. It's a little bit of a breeze today, but good bike to be cruising the coast on. Well, this is a little bit chilly. I got my Key-Lite leather jacket on. So this is a jacket that has a full airbag inside of it, tethered to the bike here, so if I were to get thrown off, it would inflate and protect my vital organs. But even that, the full leather with the airbag and everything and the armor, I'm a little chilly at 60 miles per hour, but it's refreshing. All the way out to Southern California with your life, have a Southern California car, and then still choose to be a Green Bay Packers fan. And not only to be a fan, but to feel compelled to put a big old sticker on the back of your Mazda 3 sedan. Interesting life choices. But we are coming into Laguna Beach. Nice place to not have a loud motorcycle because they don't like noise here. I'm gonna get a glimpse. Oh, it's a woman. Huh. Oh, and there's a a big old scuff dent on the front of her car. Huh. Interesting. But either way, good spot to test out our lane filtering abilities here, and I don't think we're going to make it in between these two rigs. Actually, we might. This is a particularly narrow bike. Oh, they see me. Okay, thank you guys. Meow. Woohoo! See, if you live in an area like Southern California where lane filtering like that is legal, you're going to want a narrow little bike like this if you're putzing around town and in one of these beach communities or something like that. It's low, it's narrow, it's gutsy, it's got that zippability to it. You know, I like that we have a tachometer, because I just do, but it's really not necessary on a bike like this. I could easily see this being one of those type of motorcycles that just doesn't have a tach, because you have so much power all throughout the rev range that it's really not that big of a deal to know where you're at. Okay, nice and low seat height though. Stop like this, I'm able to put both feet down very comfortably and look around. Right away. The seat is a little wide though, so it does kind of spread my legs. And you have to consider that. So it's not only just the height, it's also the width, because it kind of sprays your legs out like that. First Street hill, or Third Street rather. Coming up to our more spirited riding section. Of course, no sort of ride modes or anything like that. Your ride mode change is simply twisting the accelerator more. That's how I like to have it. There are two Priuses in front of us, so we will let them get away a bit and then give her the beans. Another Prius. It's like we're playing in Grand Theft Auto. Just respawning. Little rev cut there. Yeah, the motor's happy to rev out. Got a liveliness to it. Plenty of power. Brakes, they're there. They don't have a bunch of feel, but they're good. It's more of the tires that are going to give you a bit of unease. They've got this sort of straight grooved design that's a little bit more heritage-esque, and you just kind of feel them when they're over on the side. They sort of swirl around a bit more than your normal motorcycle tire. Good peg height though. Able to take this corner plenty sharp. And again, unlike the 230, if I had a passenger on the back here, I'd have no problem pulling up this hill. Wrapping up our city portion here with the W800. It's a good little bike to scoot around town with, and it's a little heavy, but the low height and gutsiness of the motor make up for that. It's this nice balance between simple and old school to not be distracting and to still give you a raw experience out here on the road where you're looking around and you're enjoying being out on the bike and you're enjoying the road and everything that's around you. But there are just enough modern creature comforts like the slipper and assist clutch and like the neutral indicator that riding is fairly easy as well. So it's this good balance. I've actually been pretty happy with that. The motor isn't oozing with character at these lower speeds. It's just a parallel twin, for gosh sakes. But it does sound cool enough, even with this factory exhaust, that it's fine. It's not boring, but it's also not really thrilling as well. It'd be interesting to see what they could do with the aftermarket with exhaust on this or something, but I just don't think there's that much in this engine to really scream high character. Coming up to the 5 freeway, that's where the W800 is going to have the big advantage over the W230, which was speed limited to an indicated 74 miles per hour. So GPS probably just a hair over 70. This one should have plenty of grunt to keep us up at highway speeds. In fact, I bet you it would hit triple digits without too much effort. We will not be doing that today. Now, being that we have virtually no wind protection, I can't imagine the mic is going to sound fantastic at highway speeds. So if it doesn't, I will wrap up my thoughts with you when we get off the highway. Suspension, not remarkable on this bike. If you live in an area with rougher roads, it's definitely something you're going to want to consider. It's just a pretty simple and straightforward suspension around this thing, and not a ton of sidewall on the tires, so it's only absorbing so much from a bump standpoint. And here we are, 70 miles per hour, no problem getting up here to speed. Traffic is moving along quite nice today. I bet you can hear me pretty well right here behind this van. Getting a good amount of wind blockage. Oh, and again, with these tires, the Kawasaki actually warned me about this when I had the W230. On this grooved concrete, you feel the bike kind of tracking and shaking around. Just something to be aware of. But 70 miles per hour, about 4,000 RPM, so the motor's not working too hard. You do feel some vibration though. That's something that I forgot to mention so far throughout the review, is the vibrations are real on this bike. For a shorter period of time, perfectly fine place to be out here on the highway. Plenty of power. I will say that if I were commuting regularly on the highway, I would want some more wind protection. It's just a lot on your body and on your senses to be bombarded with wind like that for more than maybe 10-15 minutes or so. But you do reach this neutral riding position where you kind of lean into the wind and sort of balance yourself out with being pushed back. The tires are certainly something to consider though with the grooved asphalt. There were sections in there where it was really weaving back and forth. Maybe that's just something they don't do in Japan, so these tires weren't really tested in that environment much. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as to say it's a safety issue, but it's certainly unnerving. It's something you got to be ready for. It's not relaxing. But an hour, just over an hour here on the saddle, off the W800, I actually enjoyed it more than I expected. It is a bit of a compact bike, and it's a lot of weight for the footprint. But I kind of had fun. It's more comfortable than I expected. The seat comfort is great. My arms and shoulders maybe a little bit sore now at this point after kind of leaning into it for as long as I have been. But I can stand up so easily that, you come to a stoplight and kind of just stand, stretch yourself out a little bit, shake it out, and then you're good to go again when traffic gets going. So it's a cool motorcycle, it is. Would I commute on it? Yeah, I could see throwing some kind of saddlebags on the side, or maybe wearing a backpack or something and using this as a daily rider. The biggest thing would be you'd have to really yearn for this classic motorcycle experience, the nature of the engine, the style, because it is a good amount of money to spend for a motorcycle that's not giving you a fuel gauge, that's not giving you any sort of advanced tech or rider aids or anything like that. To me, that's why I ride. I ride motorcycles because they are so simple and basic and straightforward. Now, don't get me wrong, I respect and appreciate a big bike like the R1300 RT that's practically like a car on two wheels. I mean, that's nice to ride, don't get me wrong, but it's not the reason I ride. I would just get a car at that point and be comfortable and safe and in the elements, or out of the elements. This is more why I ride, for something that's a fun and unique experience. So let's fill it up here. We'll crunch our final numbers and wrap up our thoughts on daily riding the W800. All topped off here on the W800, we ended up putting in 0.778 gallons of fuel. 42.9 miles traveled divided by 0.778. It's given us a healthy 55 miles per gallon here for this cruiser bike. Now, that's not a remarkable number by any means for a street-oriented motorcycle like this. Maybe it's just because of the air-cooled, kind of simpler engine. I don't know, maybe the upright seating position. I guess I just expected a little bit better. It's by no means an expensive motorcycle to run. I mean, it's regular gasoline, simple maintenance. I mean, 55 is not going to break the bank by any means, but I guess I was just expecting a little closer to 60. Not the end of the world, though. We've got a 4-gallon fuel tank, so 4 gallons times 55 miles per gallon is giving you a very reasonable 220 miles of daily riding fuel economy here for this bike. So this is going to be an interesting one to review. Stay tuned. I'm going to publish my review probably in about a month or so, month or two, after spending a good amount of time with the bike. It's cool. I like looking at it. I like riding it. Would I spend 5 figures on it? That's, for me, it's tough to say. I'm going to leave that for the full review. This was just kind of a daily rider impression, and for a cool motorcycle experience to go putz around on and ride regularly, yeah, comfort's there, the ease of riding is there, the ease of maintenance clearly there. A lot going for the W800. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the bike, stay tuned for our full review. If you want to see other daily rider tests, check the link below for the playlist, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Moto, and as always, ride on.